Hey everyone, Jeremy here. It is Friday night and we're going to create some art. I had to think of it for a moment there because we usually do our live streams on Thursday. I was just kind of tied up yesterday and I wasn't able to get to it. So we're going to do it tonight. It's going to be just as much fun, if not more fun, because we're heading into the weekend. If anybody's actually out there and you're not at a bar or out celebrating that it's Friday, hopefully you will enjoy hanging out with me for a little bit, drawing a picture. Along with Bear. I see Rome Dog's already in the house. That's enough for a party. Maybe more people will stop in later on. But if not, we got enough for a party. It's going to be great. So what are we working on tonight? That's a great question. So it's not that I'm tired of doing animals. It's just I've done so many animals that I kind of wanted to try something a little bit different tonight. It's been a little while since I've done like a landscape picture, and I really enjoyed doing those. I'm not all that great at it. I'm not like a landscape artist. As you can see on my channel, it's mostly pets and like little single solitary objects and stuff like that. Not usually like a big old scene. But I wanted to kind of do that because I've been kind of inspired by fall lately. The leaves haven't really changed yet in my area. Um, like the colors I'm going to be using tonight, they're like way more blown than what I'm dealing with out there right now. But I thought that yeah, it'd be kind of fun getting the spirit and stuff. I'm totally into fall at the moment. I've been drinking the apple ciders. I've been like drinking the pumpkin spice latte. So that's my thing. But anyway, I'm not gonna waste your time with this big old long intro. I'm just gonna jump right in. So as far as like commentary about what I'm doing, that might be a little bit sparse because again, I haven't really developed a method for doing landscape pictures just because I haven't really done a lot of them. But I do have like some basics. So the basics are that I have some pastels. I've got a bunch of little stick pastels. I've got some pencil pastels and stuff. So a wide range of pastels. I've got a piece of mixed media paper here, and if you've ever seen me do like a pastel portrait of like like an animal, you know that I usually prime my surface with what's called clear gesso. It's this product here by Liquitex. So this clear gesso has like kind of like a little pumice in it or something that kind of gives me a sanded texture so that when I apply the pastels, they actually kind of stick to the page. Without that, you would have too smooth of a surface. Probably like one or two layers would stick just fine. I've done pictures like that. In fact, this picture back here was done that way. You can pile pastels on top of pastels, but it's easier if you have a sanded surface. And since I don't really know what I'm doing tonight for this picture, I don't know how many layers I'm going to end up doing. But anyway, I'm just going to jump right in just because I want to. And again, you know, happy Friday. And oh, Larry's in the house too. Cool. So happy Friday, and hopefully you guys are having a great weekend so far, even though it just started. Hopefully you guys don't mind hanging out with me tonight. I know you have a lot of options in what you can be doing with your Friday night. Usually my Friday nights, I'm trying to like go out and participate in the art world. There's like some local galleries and stuff that have things that go on Friday nights, and sometimes my friends might want to meet at the pub. All right, so the truth is, I just stay at home on Friday nights usually. Sometimes I go out, sometimes I do things. I used to do live streams on Fridays, but then I switched it up because it does seem like everybody in the art world does things on Friday night. So like if I did want to go to a gallery or something like that, those are usually on Friday nights. So I wanted to kind of like free it up so that I could do things like that. So I'm just kind of like adding a little bit of a brown to give me something to work with here. This is definitely going to look pretty rough until it doesn't. I kind of have a loose idea. I have some reference photos of like what fall looks like in places. I'm thinking there's going to be like a road here and it's going to be lined by trees on either side. So that's what I'm shooting for. Um, but yeah, so there's a gallery hop in my town, and they usually do that on Friday night. So that's really what I started freeing this up for. But then I noticed like a lot of other things like the Cincinnati Art Museum does like art after dark on Fridays. I haven't gone up there for that, but I always wanted to reserve that. So anyway, But when I'm not doing those things, I'm usually like watching TV or trying to get caught up on things. And sometimes I do art, even though I'm not broadcasting. But um, so this is going to be kind of like a dirt scene. I'm going to kind of try to kind of rough in what I think is going to be general shape of things. So I'm going to have some bushes up here. So right here is going to be like the focal point. That's where the road's going to kind of like go into and stuff. I think it's going to look cool. I think the other thing why roads are on my mind is I've been watching Agatha All Along, which is like the sequel to the WandaVision show on Disney Plus, and they have like a witches road. So it's the season for witches, and like the big thing there is that they're walking the witches road. So like when I think of like roads and witches and all that stuff, I think of like a cool little fall like scene. This isn't going to be spooky or anything. This is supposed to be like pretty. I hope it's pretty. It may turn out terrible. I don't know. We'll see. Again, not my strong suit, working with pastels and doing landscapes, but I've done a few of them. I think we'll make something decent. I'm surprised the kid's not in the room because she is one of the reasons why I wanted to do something different. She's like, okay, it's fine that you didn't do your Thursday show, but you better come and do something really nice. So, kid, if you're watching this later, I wanted to do something a little bit different because you challenged me to do it. But yeah, I realize people get busy and are on other schedules. All right, so like I said, there's going to be a road in here. It's not going to be gray, but I think gray is a good color to add to this. And I think it's going to come down right through the center here. It's going to kind of spread out because of perspective. You know how like optical illusions work. We're going to get it kind of down here. And every time I put in one of these like bottom layers, I'm going to kind of blend it in. And the reason why is because like I want it to kind of like blend out so that in the background it's kind of soft. And then over it, I might leave like a little bit of detail or something like that. Hey, the kid is in the room. Yeah, kid. So like, I saw your message where you're like, "Well, you better do something really pretty." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'm gonna do that," or something really good, or something. I don't know, something where I'm like, "Oh shit, I better up my game." So glad you're in the house. Yeah, so we're doing like this is gonna be a road, um, and then let's see, I had a darker color. Where did I put that? And of course, we're having like bourbon tonight too. So like, I feel like I should put like some apple juice or something in my bourbon, get in this fall spirit. Like I said, the leaves haven't really changed here yet, but I think they're going to be changing soon. Like probably starting this weekend. I think the official start of fall is in September, like September 20th or something like that. So like this is thematically good. Oh, and by the way, I did like put down some masking tape and stuff so that I can kind of box myself in on this picture. I think I'll bring that. So this is the start of a tree. So there's going to be several trees lining this road. I think. So when doing trees, again, I've got the soft pastel here, so it just kind of like lays on the paper. When doing trees, it's nice to use the long end of it, and you know this is a half pastel, so like I broke it like a long stick into a half, and it's good to just like just kind of use this and block in. Now you don't have to worry about like sticks and leaves and stuff like that at this point because the great thing about pastels is they do work well in layers, so you can just kind of layer those on top. So if you, the technique I'm using here is kind of like borrowed it a little bit from my favorite artist, um, Bob Ross, where he uses like the edge of a palette knife. So like if you've never used if you've used pastels before, this is like old stuff for you. But if you have never used pastels before, that's all you're doing here. Is you're just kind of blocking in some tree trunks, um, and then you know just carrying that all the way up. I'm not sure if I'm going to blend that in. I may or may not. We'll see. But you got nice thick trunk down here, and then going up into like larger branches. And I think most of my trees are going to be on this side, and then over here it's going to be kind of like shrubs and stuff. So we'll see how it goes. I might change it up a little bit, but um, yeah. So I thought this would look really nice. The other thing I've been doing lately is I got roped into another treasure hunt. So those of you who know me on this channel, like I realize like some people stop in here because they're like just appreciating the art, but some of those you guys who whoa, who invented bourbon? Did you at least invite paint water? I'm just being silly. Um, who didn't invent bourbon? I think it was Elijah Craig. He was, believe it or not, he was actually, I think, a Baptist minister. Um, so a Baptist minister is the guy who invented bourbon. I don't know the full story behind it, how he came to invent it, but like when you see Elijah Craig at the liquor store and stuff, that's the reason why he's famous. Because I think he invented it. And I think he invented it in like Scott County, Kentucky. That's my understanding. Put another little tree back here, a little lighter tree. All right, so we got basically three trees. Anyway, yeah, so I got kind of roped into a another treasure hunt. This one's kind of cool. So, like, if anybody is interested in treasure hunts, um, you should check this one out because it's free. Like, you can pay to get like clues to like help you along and stuff, but otherwise, it's free to just kind of like participate, just to kind of like follow along or something like that. So the thing is, it's called projectskydrop.com. Um, and what it is like they have this like little gold kind of like sculpture, um, and they just put it out in the woods somewhere up in New England somewhere, or like at least the East Coast. It's up there in the woods somewhere, and they're challenging people to come and find it. And hold on, I had a blending stump here somewhere, but now I can't find it. Oh well, I'll just use my fingers. Um, you can actually make a blending stump. There you go. I'll demonstrate that real quick. So I got this post-it note here, right? So I got this post-it note. To make your own blending stump, just take the other end, just kind of roll it. So anyway, that project Skydrop, it's kind of cool. So like they got again this like little golden sculpture out in the woods. It's worth like 23 grand just in gold. But you can make your own little blending stump, by the way. Um, but it's just out there in the woods, and the thing is, they have like a 500-mile circle around it, and the trick is that every day they're going to reduce that circle by like I don't know 100 miles or something like that until one day it's just a 1 foot square, and then when it's a 1 foot square, obviously everybody knows where it is, and you can go and find it. But in the meantime, nobody really knows where it is. So I think that's kind of cool. Kid says, I wonder if they will do more regions for this guy. So I did see a comment where they said they're planning on doing one on the West Coast at some point and maybe somewhere else. But yeah, if this one does well, there's going to be more of them. That's what the guy said. So hopefully this one does well. I think it's really fascinating because I was looking at it and I'm like trying to figure out where I think it might be based on they've got a webcam on it, and so you can see the environmental conditions of it. So I've been trying to figure out from that. So like the temperature, for example, and um, just general conditions of the like because they have like a trail cam on it. So I've been looking at that. My best guess is either like a very small sliver of like New Hampshire, um, maybe Massachusetts, maybe Connecticut, maybe Vermont. I can never pronounce that correctly. But definitely right in that area. So like I think it's in the New England proper. It's not in like North New York or Pennsylvania or something like that, which are also within that 500 miles. So. But anyway, yeah, I encourage people to check it out. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, you don't have to pay to participate, really. You can pay to get like more clues or something like that, but I'm not going to do that because I don't plan on going to New England to look for this treasure. So it's not worth it for me. But if you live in New England and you like an excuse to get out there in the woods and stuff. I can't think of a better excuse than $23,000 minimum. Like there's also a pool of money that's like in crypto or something. So if you find it, you get like a crypto wallet that you can unlock. All right, so we got the basic idea of like what's going on here. We've got very rough, guys. We have a very rough idea of we got a road coming through. It's going off into the distance. I'm going to go ahead and get a little bit of value in there. Going off into the distance. It's kind of all coming towards the center. That's the general layout. And then now I kind of want to define this road and define some of those trees. Hey, MJ, how's it going? Oh, you guys are talking about wine. Oh, he's talking about his cat food wine again. I can't do it. The blueberry wine doesn't sound bad. Yeah, that actually sounds really good. Oh, I'm not ready to show it off yet, but I did a label recently for a like a black cherry wine. It's buried around here somewhere, but I have to show that off because I actually did some digital art for a can label, and since it's art related, I should share that with you guys. I think it looks cool, but it's a black cherry. They give me a bunch of cans of it too, and I've been drinking those recently. I'm gonna expand this tree here a little bit. Let a little branch come off here. Trees are easy to draw. I know that they baffle a lot of people, but really it's just a dark layer that roughly drawn, and then you add some light layers over it, and then you add some leaves, and then you add some twigs to represent branches and so on. So it's really intimidating, but it shouldn't be. Okay, let's add some color. Just because, again, this is not like anything set in stone. I'm just kind of feeling my way around. So at this point, I kind of want really bright leaves that have fallen off that tree. I'm just going to kind of stipple that in down here. I'll come back in and add some like definition between these like leaves and stuff like that. Kind of add some texture to it. But okay, I kind of want that to kind of come up here, overlapping the road just a little bit, like a few of the leaves kind of fall out into the road. Over here, same deal. Again, we're trying to like force the perspective into the background back here. Again, I'm not like a landscape artist, so this is not where I spend most of my time in the art process, but it is something that I've done before, and I feel pretty comfortable with it. And more to the point, I enjoy doing this. I enjoy creating landscapes. They don't always turn out exactly the way I want them to, but sometimes they turn out all right. I kind of got my start as a kid doing pastels in general. So like, you know, whenever you deal with pastels, at some point you're going to be doing landscapes. As a kid, I told this story before, but I might as well tell it again just because, well, it's my story. So I used to live in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba, when my dad was stationed in the military, and there was a Jamaican artist down there. He was really cool. His name was Ray Jackson. I still remember to this day, and he was kind of like a street artist who worked with pastels, and I still remember they had like a J.C. Penney's outlet down there or something like that, or maybe it was a Marine Corps Exchange. I don't remember, but some sort of like shopping place or whatever, and he was doing like portraits there, and I was so enamored with like his he was like just so good at doing it. I was like, I begged my parents to like let me get a portrait done, and he did that, and I found that he was doing classes and stuff like that. So even like little Jeremy, I mean, it must have been like, I don't know, 5 to 8 years old. I wasn't very old at all. Um, but I was just so fascinated by it. I talked my parents into let me go to like his classes and everything. And even though most of the other people in the class were adults, here I am with my set of pastels drawing really bad dogs and all that stuff. But that's where I got my start. I got my start with pastels, and you know, I've never given up liking these things. I love pastels. I love the texture of them. I love working with them. And I think it's all inspired probably by that that class I took with the Jamaican guy who was he was just a cool guy too. Like I mean, for like a young kid like myself, he was impressionable. So I was looking at this guy and I'm like, man, he is so cool. I want to be that guy. Of course, you know, he had talent and I didn't have any talent, so I couldn't be that guy. But uh, it was still something I wanted to do. That tree deserves a raccoon in it. It really does deserve a raccoon in it. We'll get one. All right. So just kind of defining the road a little bit here. I'm going to come back to this because whenever I'm working with pastels, I kind of like jump all over the place. So back here in the background, we have some lighter colors. I'll come back with that one, I think. Let's start with this. We have some lighter colors. Just kind of all over the place. And this is exactly how I like to draw when I'm drawing with pastels. I just kind of put the color down, and then we'll add some color over it, and we'll just keep building it up and just see what happens. And then if it needs adjustments, we'll make adjustments. Otherwise, we're just trucking along, having a conversation. What's Jeremy do? This is going to be good. Oh, so we're working on a kind of a landscape for fall, where we have a tree here, we have leaves, we have a road. We have a road going back into the distance. And it is going to be good, I hope. Right now we're just randomly putting color all over the thing, trying to get that fall feel in here. Some of these colors are going to overlap the tree trunks, and give us that whole three-dimensional thing. I love these pastels. These are, I forget the name brand of them. I got the box somewhere around here and stuff, but they were super cheap. They didn't cost very much at all. Have some of those trees kind of come down. I don't want it all to be like horizontal. I want it to be, you know, a bit random. All right, so we got some yellow in there. Let's go back to our reds. What is wine distilled? Wine distilled would be, I don't know. All right, so we're going to kind of be a little heavy-handed with this red here because that's the main color of these leaves. As you go back, they kind of light up a little bit more and you start seeing like some oranges and yellows and stuff, but really kind of wanted to get a lot of red up in here. And it's okay to leave like the sky poking through a little bit. That's normal. Kind of want that. So like little white areas is fine. But I did want to get a lot of red in here. And again, I'm just kind of like stippling it into the paper and hoping for the best. But because it's got that clear gesso on it, it's grabbing my chalk and it's just like holding that in there. It's got this really cool look. There's something distinctive about pastels, where you kind of get this you get this kind of rough area around that looks really good for, you know, trees. So there's a reason why people use a lot of pastels for landscapes. You know, it works really good for landscapes. Oops. You gotta be careful though when you go to smear something like that or go to wipe something away because it does smear. In fact, when you use pastels, you should really frame it behind glass so that, you know, it doesn't get smudged over time and stuff. So we got trees kind of coming down. I want these like little bushes over here to kind of be reaching up into the trees. So again, we don't have like a lot of detail here yet. That's all fine. We'll get to that. But real quick, I did want to get at least one blending stump so that I have one to use. There you go. Sorry about that. That's the poor planning that I do. So I did kind of want to like just, you know, blend some of this in because I want to kind of direct the marks, and I kind of want them to all kind of come down, if that makes sense. Larry's gonna have good nightmares tonight. Nice. Are you guys telling ghost stories already? Um, Moscato wine. Oh, that does sound good. Sorry, I've been neglecting the chat here. You guys if you guys are telling ghost stories, I want in. Because it's not quite so like I don't know. I don't feel like it's spooky season until October, but it is fall season, so we're getting close. So I'm using this blending stump just to kind of like, direct some of these marks and get some of these distant trees in. So like you see how this line here becomes kind of tree-like. That's perfect for these blending stumps because you want it to be this like kind of light, just fading off into the distance kind of deal. Because you can always come back over and add more layers if you want some detail. Cool, Rome is drawing too. Nice. I love it that Rome draws along with me. I know that some other folks over the months and years and stuff have come in and they draw along with the show as well. Um, it's not as often as I think it would be cool for it to be. So I appreciate that. So like definitely if anybody is drawing pictures while watching this show, I want to hear about it. And my email address is on the community page. So like shoot me a text or like not a text. Well, shoot me a text if you know me. If you want my email address or my phone number, I don't mind. Um, but yeah, shoot me an email with your art in it. I think that would be cool to check out. Hey, because of Ken's in the house. We got MJ because of Ken. We got okay Larry. And we got Kid. That's cool. Yeah, I do apologize for being on a different day. I know that like I appreciate you guys' time. So I know that sometimes you guys are just used to having Thursdays available and stuff, and maybe it might be inconvenient for you to like have to come and watch on a different day and stuff. I appreciate that you guys even bother watching me. I know I've mentioned this before. I know I'm not entitled to that, so just be aware that I am very appreciative of you guys. Depends on what you mash start with. Oh, you guys are talking about distilling wine. I think it's moonshine. If you distill wine, you get moonshine. That's my understanding. In fact, I think a lot of people who do moonshine, I don't know a lot of people who do moonshine, but my guess is that they start with the wine just to give it some flavor, and then send it through the distillery. Jay says Jeremy is the new Bob Ross. So I don't know. Can you? I've got Bob Ross back here on the shelf somewhere. Yeah, right, somewhere here, like a little stuffed version of Bob Ross. I'll have to bring him out sometime and show him off. He's really cool. My folks got him for me because they know I love Bob Ross. All right, so I'm working down here in this area right now just to kind of get some definition going, but we'll get back into the tree up here in a minute. I'm gonna blend some of this stuff in just so that I have more of a background for the details, I think. Watching Ring of Powers and flip to this. You're so elfin, not orc. Thanks. Oh, I haven't seen that new season. Is it any good, Alan? Like, I don't mean to interrupt you watching it, like, but I haven't seen it. So I know that the first season kind of got some flack from diehard Tolkien fans, but I kind of liked it. I thought it was pretty good. Talking about the Ring of Power on Amazon Prime, it's they bought the rights to use J.R.R. Tolkien's work, and they've done stuff that's inspired. I wouldn't call it like the exact story. I would say it's inspired by Tolkien's work. They take some liberties. They they have been criticized, for example, like this is so nerdy, but like dwarven females are supposed to have beards just like men, right? Um, but in their show, the dwarves do not. The female dwarves do not have beards and stuff. So little things like that irritate people, who are true fans of J.R.R. Tolkien and care about that kind of stuff, care about like faithful representation of the work. I mean, I'm not like crazy about like making sure that they do everything exactly like Tolkien, but I do think like, if you're gonna do it, like, well, why not? Why not have like dwarf women with beards? Like if you're gonna copy Tolkien's work, just copy it, don't get rid of that for like aesthetic reasons or whatever. We know that women in real life don't have beards. You don't have to sit there and hide it. Well, most women don't have beards. Some women probably do have beards, but that's okay. Bunch of different people out there with different things, like beards. I don't know what I'm saying. So I'm just blending all this stuff in just so that I can come over it with more details instead of just like leaving it there. But this is um this is a nice part where you just kind of like, you know, getting the yellows and the reds and the grays and stuff all together, just kind of smudging them in there, filling in some of those spots. I do want to leave like some areas of light kind of poking through, but I think I can come back and add those after the fact. So I'm not too worried about it. Yeah. So I kind of want this to be really dirty down here. Like I said, this is a road we're heading through up into the trees. And it is already kind of like drawing your eye towards the center. So I'm pretty happy with this. Again, this is not the thing that I do the most. So I'm not that used to the process. Like I kind of feel like I could have smoothed this out earlier in the process, but we're figuring out as we go along. Bambi had a beard. What are you talking about, Alan? You know what? I forgot to bring a tissue for my nose. I'm gonna have to use this. Oh, hey, using paper towels on my nose. Um, Game of Thrones does suck in comparison. However, I am enjoying Dance of Dragons. That's good. That's good stuff. All right, so I'm gonna get some darker colors in here just to kind of like bring out this road a little bit and kind of get some texture going up in here. Just along the side, kind of framing things in a little bit. Yeah, I need to watch that though. Like I haven't seen the this season of Rings of Power. Last season was pretty good. I enjoyed that. Okay, Larry says I can fill you in. Women don't like beards. The only compliments I get on mine are for men. Some women like beards. I think women like beards. I read a study once that women prefer men with like stubble, and ever since then I've been like growing a stubble. Who knows what women want, right? Women want what they want. I'm sure there's a wide variety. Some women like beards, some women don't. I do not claim to know what women want. Women want what they want. So I'm putting in some like little highlights in here to kind of like bring out. Again, we're starting to add a little bit of detail throughout. It's just layers upon layers upon layers. Like up and through here, there's some trees back here. Let's go ahead and kind of darken those in. This is all like really kind of grayed out, but they're there. Like, sorry, I just had a Bob Ross moment. Like those happy little trees are still there. They're hard to see, but they're there. Women like layers because women have layers. There's no like one size fit all for women. I have no idea, honestly. I I have never claimed to know what women want. Women are confusing to me. I uh I actually subscribe to the idea, and I know this is probably like a little bit outdated, but I subscribe to the idea that, there's a feminine mystique about women where they're meant to be mysterious, I guess. I know that this is like stereotyping, and it's not like a one size fits all scenario, but by and large, I don't think we're supposed to understand women. They represent the mystery in life, to us men at least. They probably don't even have each other figured out. That's my guess. All right, so I like this, how it kind of fades off into the distance. I'm going to try something real quick and see if I can get like a nice little, yeah, get that little white line in there. So this little white line serves a couple purposes, but one, it gives us that vanishing point. Just kind of put that in there. That's the end of the road. Not really the end of the road. It kind of goes on to in a distance, but that's our vanishing point. And I may come back and develop that a little bit more, but I wanted to get that in there just so that I know that that is going to work eventually. Um, and then down through here, I kind of want some darker areas. Um, different colors. Darken this in a little bit. Darken this in a little bit. And kind of blend that in a little bit. Just kind of lightly brush them in. I want you to be able to see some contrast there. How are we doing on time? I don't want to get like stuck on this bottom part and not get the trees done, but I think we're doing good. He was all life. Remember that. That is true. Yeah. I mean, there's no argument there. Wouldn't be here without women. And better them than us, to be honest. Like if we were tasked with like giving life, we would screw that up 100%. So good for them. Appreciate it. Thanks, guys. All right, I'm gonna go with this dark kind of gray here. All right, so I want to kind of like put in some twigs and stuff and just kind of generally get texture through here. Fill in some of this area. I'm doing this with the pencil just because I'm trying to get like little twig lines in there and stuff so that you can see that there is branches coming up. And this is just sketching, by the way. So like, you know, you're not you're not meant to spend like a lot of time trying to get the details in here. You're just kind of giving the impression that there are twigs and such up in this area. I will move on to the other side. I just kind of wanted to like practice over here my technique because again, like I said, this is not my general thing that I usually do. So I'm kind of like learning on the go here, guys. Usually I'm drawing like dogs and cats and you know, easy things like that. Not like nature and stuff. Just kidding. Every picture is hard. I've never claimed to be a master at anything. All right, so that's looking good. Up in here, I want to get some orange going. Overlaying some of these twigs and stuff so that we got some depth. Got a bunch of different oranges too. I'm gonna vary this up a little bit. Use this orange. I can't really see that one. That's okay. Some detailed leaves out there. Right. Back at this. The other thing about working with pastels is you end up with like all kinds of like powder everywhere. That's just part of it. You know, you can't really do anything about that. It's just the nature of it. So, does anybody have any? Oh, MJ says looking good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Sometimes I'm not really sure. Um, Anybody have any plans for the weekend? Anything interesting going on? This is one of the first weekends in a bit for me that I have absolutely nothing going on. There's nothing going on in my life this weekend. Just, I'll probably try to get caught up on some things around the house just because it's been a minute. I didn't even mow the lawn last week because I didn't need it. So probably do that. But beyond that, I've got nothing, guys. So if you guys have any suggestions for things to do, I know in the back of my mind, I should probably do things before it gets too cold. But my mind's not really there yet. My mind's not, I'm starting to get into fall, but my mind is not on fall yet. That's the reason why I do these pictures to kind of like get myself into the feel of it. All right, so I'm liking this side. It's looking pretty good. Um, little light specks in here. So really, it's just a bunch of little specks and stuff. So, for example, up here, it's a little too blurred out, so I could just add a few little light specks. Then we've got, you know, the sky poking through. It's all just kind of like stippled in. And now we've got like more of a defined thing over there. So, keeping with that, let me start bringing a few little leaves across. This is almost like doing a river, right? So like you get really blurred out areas and then you kind of come back over it with some detail, like ripples or stuff. But in this case, it's like leaves that have fallen. And leaves come in all different types of colors and whatnot. So it's layered stuff over each other. And even some darker areas through here, dark lines, just to give those leaves some definition so they pop out. There are lots of fall festivals. That's a good point. Maybe I should go looking for one of those. Alan K says, I suggest you keep painting, illustrating. This is awesome. Thank you. I appreciate that, man. Everybody here probably knows Alan. I'm sure you guys do, but if you don't know him, maybe he'll like post his TikTok in the channel because like he's got he's got the most mellow. Like he goes fishing a lot and stuff, and he likes to show off some of his catches and stuff while he's out there. Is he? You think I'm mellow, right? Like I have the reputation of people coming in and saying, "I like listening to you, Jeremy. You're so mellow and all that stuff." Alan is the mellow guy for real. I can listen to Alan all day. Um, he's been on a couple of the Forest Fin YouTube like podcasts, I guess you would call them almost, or vidcasts. Um, and he's always got a calming effect, especially with the co-hosts that he's got when he's over there with Ben, for example. He's got a calming effect on Ben. All right, so just get like a few little highlight specks up in here, just to you know, these leaves. Sometimes they're different colors, sometimes they catch the light, but a lot of variety. A lot of variety up in there. And then I'm gonna grab this black pencil and just kind of and some little areas between the leaves. I want the impression to be that there's a pile of leaves here, in case you're wondering what I'm doing. And a little bit of, not really grass, but just kind of like some grassish kind of things poking through. Let me see if I can grab this like red pencil and get red marks. Yeah, cool. All right, I'm gonna use this more. Some red marks up in here. So really, when you're drawing landscapes and stuff, at least the way I draw them, like there, it doesn't have to be perfectly like photorealistic or anything like that. You can come in and use your pencil and just kind of like side scribble in some details, and it looks like fantastic in my opinion. It kind of gives the idea that there's like a lot of little things that have fallen from the trees down here, just sitting on the ground. Again, the road, little things on the road. In fact, if I had a name for this picture, I would call it the road. Even though that's like the most cliche lame thing to call it, I would still call it that. Because it's the road, guys. I mean, what else are you gonna call it? So I'm gonna use this white, and try to get some lighter areas in here, and see how that goes. But again, like if you're doing a river and you're trying to get like the stream in here, you're basically carving out the road from the background so that it's distinguished and it's like sitting there. Yeah, Alan always has amazing videos for real. Hey, Nomadic Madman, how's it going, man? I imagine an old covered bridge down the road to the left. Yeah, that would be cool. I'm not going to draw it because I don't have the time for it, but yeah, absolutely. I live in kind of covered bridge country. There's a lot of covered bridges still in Kentucky. They're great. I love covered bridges. Whenever they fall down or like, you know, it's not like they're being maintained that much these days. Whenever that happens, it's a little disappointing, but I do like. I love covered bridges. Actually, I don't just like them. I love them. Just reminds you of I don't know, like all the movies you ever saw about like Sleepy Hollow and you know. I mean, I just watched Beetlejuice the other day. Like that was a big thing in the first movie, the covered bridge that they crashed through, and that's how the those people died to become ghosts. You need covered bridges, not for that reason, but you know, you need covered bridges so that people can crash. No, not good. All right, so I've got this road going through. It doesn't look like there's you know, like in the center of the road, there should be, you know, basically there should be treads on either side. So I really have to bring that out here. So just kind of subtly darken that in so that you actually do see. It's all about subtle impression. So like we're suggesting that there's what is it? What would that called me? Ruts. There's ruts in the road. That's tough to say. Try to say that after you've been drinking bourbon. Ruts in the road. Yeah. So we got some ruts in the road. We kind of blend that in a little bit there. So again, I don't spend a lot of time doing landscape pictures, but I really enjoy them whenever I do. I like landscape. So whenever I'm looking at other people's art that I really like, it's especially when it comes to pastel, it's almost always landscapes. I love landscapes that people do in pastels. It's a perfect medium for them. You know, like there's other things that people do with pastels, obviously pet portraits, and just portraits in general. Like you can do a really good portrait of a person if you know what you're doing in pastels. Um, but a lot of people just use them for landscapes and within good reason, you know, like they're perfect for doing landscapes. All right, so I'm pretty happy with this area down here. I may come back to it, but I feel like that's solid enough to move on to like some of the other areas. So I have this tree here, and it doesn't really have any definition to it. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to switch to my darker pencil, and I'm going to try to just like get some texture in here, like kind of make it look like a gnarly tree with veins growing up in it, or whatever these things are called. I mean, it's bark, but I don't know what the lines on the bark are called. To me, they're just tree bark. So I'm trying to be careful with that. I don't want to just scribble those in because I want them to look like tree bark. And I kind of want to use these to kind of guide the viewer's eyes to various details. So for example, I think it would be kind of cool to put like a little knot here in the tree. That looks cool, right? We like knots. We want this to look like a nice little fall, autumn scene. We're gonna put like knots in our trees because those make them look gnarly. Um, Beautiful, thanks. So this is really where you start getting into like defining your tree. So for example, I've got this branch to come. So I've got like some nondescript area here, right? So like say I wanted to tell you that this branch is in the foreground. So this is where I separate those out. I kind of bring that line back in. And again, this isn't rocket science. You don't need a lot of drawing skill in order to be able to pull this off. In fact, if you're learning to draw and you don't know where to start, you don't know what you want to try to draw, try drawing trees because like you can get a lot of detail into a tree and make it look pretty realistic without having like a lot of technical skill. Um, it's not like you know it's not like it requires no skill. I'm not saying that people who draw trees are just like incompetent or anything like that. I'm just saying it doesn't take like a lot of skill. Like you can kind of just have fun with drawing these lines around and stuff like that. And they go a long way, you know. Just a few lines and stuff, you get like a lot of definition in your tree. I'm gonna bring that up and around. Bring this a little bit back this way. Now I do want to kind of smooth out some of these areas just because they are a bit grainy. And then kind of want like a little branch coming off here. I need to be careful of like not putting my paw in the picture so that. All right. Some texture going through here. Maybe another little knot here. Maybe the branch kind of comes out and stuff. What's so great about trees, and I definitely get this. It needs the Sasquatch in the background. It 100% does. Um, so I definitely get my love of drawing trees from Bob Ross for real because he really did a lot of trees and he really kind of give you some good concepts for doing trees. Uh, it's not like he put a ton of details into his trees either. It's just you kind of give it that impression, and you give it that impression by starting with the base color. In some cases, it's just black in his pictures. It can be black in yours, and then you add like stuff over it. So in this case, I started with like kind of a gray tree, and I'm bringing in some of that shadow. But it could have been different. I could have done otherwise. And then, and I'm gonna try it with my pencils. I don't know if this is going to work. And then, yeah, so you can just add some highlights, right? So like you add some darker areas and then you add some highlights over it. And you try to keep those chunky so that they have a good texture to them. And maybe you actually switch it up and use a stick. But yeah, you just draw white lines over your black lines and then you end up getting something that kind of looks realistic. All right, and then I'm gonna come back to this. Oh, let me get that little knot going there. So your knot is obviously going to have a highlight on it. There you go. So you got like a little realistic knot. It needs like a little tire swing to be honest. So one of the most important things is don't neglect your foreground, right? So like your tree isn't just going to be sitting there on the ground, you know, like it's going to go into your vegetation or whatever it is. Like depending on the type of tree, you might have like a little root coming off the side or something like that. But don't just like leave it popping up out of the ground, you know, like make sure it kind of blends into the foreground. So I'm gonna kind of do that. Um, and we're gonna add some features here for it to kind of blend into. Lorraine says, I really like this drawing. I miss fall color. Yeah, so this is to get us in the mood for fall, guys. Like, if you're not there yet, I'm going to bring you there because I love fall myself. I'm still not ready to give up on summer yet and let summer go, but I mean, at this point, I need to, and we all need to because fall is here, guys. In fact, I think the official start of fall is this weekend. My understanding is it's the 21st, but I'm not sure. Like the fall equinox, whenever that is, I think that's this weekend. But even if it isn't, you need to like you need to be drinking those pumpkin spice lattes and get in the mood. All right, so we got a little bit of detail down here. How are we doing on time? All right, so we're an hour in and we've got like the foreground. So let's move up the tree and you know start working up here in the actual canopy. There you go, canopy. That's the right word. All right, so for up here, I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take. Oh, and by the way, you can also let me get this tree going a little bit. I want to kind of smooth this out. And then kind of same deal. Let's get some little rough lines in here. I'm looking forward to Halloween this year. I've got a couple pictures in mind that I want to do. All right, so just wanted to get that tree in there real quick. All right, so now I'm going to use this pencil and just kind of get some random leaves or branches going and stuff. Get some definition to how this tree kind of actually works. And again, you know, go nuts with this stuff. Like you're the great thing about drawing trees and putting in like branches and twigs and sticks and stuff like that is like you have the freedom to make this tree whatever you want. You know, there's some basic principles to making trees. Like they can't just be floating in midair. Well, they can be. I mean, it's your tree, but everybody knows what trees look like. And again, it's not like it takes a lot to get you to something that looks realistic. You can basically scribble it in. It's a little bit more difficult if you're doing it with a paintbrush, just because you have to like have a steady hand or whatever. But when you're doing it with like pencils and stuff, it's just dragging it across. And then also the other thing is like, don't worry if something looks weird because there's another step where you add leaves over this stuff. So like a lot of this stuff is going to get covered up with another layer on top. So don't stress it too much if this kind of looks weird. Just let things have, you know, like an organic sense to it because you're going to end up covering up some of this stuff anyway. So art should not be stressful. If it's stressful, you might be doing it wrong. I can't even say that you are doing it wrong because I don't know. Maybe you should stress it a little bit, but in my mind, I think you're doing it wrong if you're stressing it. I don't stress. Well, sometimes it's stressing. Okay. All right. So sometimes art is stressful. It shouldn't be though. It does really need like a Bigfoot in the background. You guys are right. All right, so I really want like a big branch to kind of come across and kind of frame this. Again, we're trying to direct the eyes into like this little clearing back here or like the end of the road or whatever. So I kind of want to bring this branch around, out and around, kind of bring it down this way. And you notice how like I don't care if I go off course or whatever. That's just like a little stray branch or something. Bring this just for visual interest. Bring this up and around, and bring A couple more twigs down this way. All right, so one of the rules is that like this structure here must be supported by this structure. So I can't really have a branch where it's all the same width, right? So over back here, I need to put in just a little bit of thickness so that it supports this big long branch that I brought out. That's really the only rule. You have to obey physics. And like if you have a branch that's really long, you have to make sure that it's supported. That's all there is to it. A couple more little twigs coming down. Up here, just kind of like I don't like to do like like branches that are too round because I feel like that doesn't grow naturally, but sometimes they do. So just get some little branches through here. You can add some more definition. So like if you think this branch here is going to be poking through, you can add some more lines and stuff. Um, anything that is poking through, you might want to add some like definition to it, but you're not locked into anything. All right. So that's probably good to get it started. Let me take a swig of my bourbon. And then for the layer above those branches, it's like down here, but I think up there in the branches, your little stipples are going to be a little bit bigger. So kind of just get those in. I'm gonna go with this color. And then you just kind of like on the top layers and stuff, feel free to get a little heavy-handed with it because these are your topper. It may not be the topmost layer, but these are in the upper top layers because you're already over your trunk, you're over your branches and stuff. So some of these things you have to use a little bit of pressure to kind of cover over them. But these pastels are like paint, and if you have enough tooth on your paper, they do just kind of like overlay some of the bottom layers and stuff. And that's how you get your little leaves in there. And then the only rule when it comes to leaves is, and this is the case whether you're drawing in black and white or you're using a pastel, is variety. Don't do all your leaves in the same color. Spread them out. Have some fun with where they get placed. I kind of want my leaves to kind of dip down a little bit down here. And maybe they're poking through over here because they come off of this branch over here. Um, maybe maybe we got happy little leaves up over here in the corner, that sort of thing. You just have some fun with it. I think the closer you get to your focal point, you want to kind of keep it a little bit light. So even though this is all kind of dark here, I'm going to lighten it up a little bit back here. I'm going to use this yellow here, for example. I'm going to put in some leaves up here. They're a little bit brighter so that I can kind of draw people's attention to my focal area. And the more you layer these things, the more it starts looking, the term I think is painterly. It starts looking like a painting, you know. On the bottom layers, it's kind of like this ugly phase where it doesn't look good. It doesn't look like it's going to come together. But the more you get into these like layers and you start putting in, you know, enough of them, you start seeing enough detail there to really capture your interest, and you're like, wow, that actually looks cool. What did the leaves of grass say to the tree in the beginning of autumn? Please don't leave us again. How's it going? I like that. Sorry, that's really good. Anyway, I could do this all day. I could just continuously add more and more like details on like leaves and stuff. But you know, you gotta have a balance. So moving up into the canopy, we've got our darker red, which I think this is a really nice red, by the way, for this picture. This is a perfect color for autumn. I don't even know what color it is because I don't keep track of that kind of stuff. Um, that's why this is not an educational channel. Usually, when people are giving instruction, they tell you like use this cadmium red or something. I have no idea what this is. It's an orangish red. I would call it blood orange if I we're naming it myself, but it probably already has a name. And then I'm just kind of like, I don't know, just kind of scribbling these leaves in. And because I've already did that work of like all the bottom layers and those twigs and stuff like that, you can do this. You can just kind of like add this stuff over the other things and create this kind of three-dimensional effect. A little bit of light poking through there. And again, feel free to be heavy-handed in these upper layers because um, you kind of want to keep things a little bit on the lighter side when you plan to go over them. But these top layers and stuff, I may have like a couple of layers over it, but I consider this like a detail layer, so I don't mind, you know, really digging in there if that makes sense. And again, just kind of go over. Three colors. I'm gonna say that. I don't know if that's a good rule or not, but I'm gonna say three colors. You got my a darker color, a mid-range color, and then a lighter color over it for like effect. So I don't think that's a hard fast rule, but I think it's working for this picture. Literally just three sticks of pastel and you're in business. You know, feel free to go back and put in like little twigs and stuff if you feel like you missed a few. This is your world, as Bob Ross would say. Have fun. But yeah, I'm just kind of working my way around the picture and you know, getting some of these things in here. I think for this bit, I'm going to work in reverse. So instead of putting in that red, I'm going to carve out some areas that are light. Rum Dog says, "Wow, it looks really fall." Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Like, you never know going into these things how they're going to turn out. I think this is turning out pretty nice. It's evoking that feeling of fall to me, which you know matters. Get like some little light areas through here. I like having the sun just kind of poke through. And then theoretically you can introduce some blue if you really wanted to, but I like this kind of subdued palette, so I'm not going to do that. Let me move it into over here. Again, you're just scribbling in some details over what you already had there that has no details. Now, if you really care about what kind of trees these are, you might, I don't know, like, what's a tree's least favorite month? I don't know. Um, anyway, if you're drawing a particular kind of tree or something, then you might care to take a little bit more, well, care in doing the leaves because like certain trees have different kinds of leaves and stuff, so you want to be kind of accurate to that. But if you're just drawing a generic tree, like I'm doing, you don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. And as long as it looks like a tree that has leaves and stuff, you can kind of leave it a little bit abstract, or not worry at least so much. Um, I'm going to introduce a new color. I think this, let's see if that works. No, that's not dark. I want something dark. Go with this. Nah, I'm gonna, yeah, ignore that. I am going to use this instead. I'm just gonna add some black to it. Sometimes your leaves have some shadow on them, so feel free to put those things in there. Not all the leaves are going to be the same color, so feel free to draw over your leaves, get them a little bit darker in some areas. Was a tree's least favorite month? September. That's good stuff. I'm deeply impressed with your guys' puns. You guys are really good at these things. You guys should host a your own YouTube show where you're just telling jokes because I feel like you guys would be really good at it. All right, so I'm pretty happy with a lot of this. Some of it needs some work. I'll lighten this up a little bit. We're getting there. All right, I want some thick leaves through here because this is like what's really up in your face, probably closest to you. Yeah. And then because I have so many branches in here, I want to kind of like layer over those branches so that those branches are poking through my areas, but they aren't, um, you know, like standing out. I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to explain what I'm thinking in my mind, but I think that you guys understand that and you guys forgive me when I get tongue tied. I do appreciate it. So just pop these little leaves in over things, and you've got a nice little three-dimensional look to things. All right, so I think that looks pretty good. Again, the process is just keep going over things until you're happy with it. So I'm going to continue adding some more layers, scribbling in these little fall leaves. See, what did the Jedi trees say to each other? Hmm. No, not the answer to this I do. Okay, sorry, I'm trying to channel my inner Yoda. All right, I'm going to reach across and try to get some more. Again, you can always add shadow after you've got things in to kind of bring out the detail. May the force be with you. That's good. I like that actually. That's a nice little environmental one. I'm gonna use that one again. May the force be with you. Again, so you got most of your stuff in here, and at that point you can kind of feel free to just like abstractly add detail. So it doesn't have to be like perfect. You just kind of go over some of these things. Again, down here, I'm going to separate my tree from the ground in a way that makes sense. So just kind of push some of that stuff back and then blur that out and add some layer over it. Every time you add light over dark, it pushes the dark back and you get this natural, like, three-dimensional effect. Like that. Don't get chopped down. So yeah, I mentioned that I was watching Agatha all along. I think it's pretty good. I mean, it's not as good as WandaVision. Like I really liked WandaVision. That's one of my favorite Marvel TV shows that they had. Um, I just thought that was so well written. Agatha all along, turn it seems to like it's going to be okay. Like I don't know. It's always hard to tell with Marvel. I don't know why I keep giving Marvel my attention. Like they burned me so many times in the past, but I still hold out hope. I think that this show is going to be pretty good. Like I say, I like the what's her name? I forget the name of the lady who plays in it, but she's really talented. She's funny. I think I'm going to enjoy this movie or this TV show. And see there's something else I've been watching. I can't remember what it is at the moment because I haven't watched a few episodes. So when I remember that, I'll come back to it. Certainly, if you guys haven't gone to see Beetlejuice yet, that's a winner. I enjoyed Beetlejuice. So if you're looking for a movie to go and watch this weekend, I recommend that. Pretty good. There is something else I've been watching. I can't remember for the life of me. I guess I'm just not that into it. I'm still watching Veep. I haven't finished watching all of that yet. That's pretty good. Julie Louis Dreyfus. I started watching that because like Kamala Harris is the vice president and she's like running. So I'm like, oh, I think they made a TV show out of that years ago and stuff. So I started watching that, and there is like a lot of similarity there. So um, if you're just wanting to watch something that is kind of politically funny, that's a pretty good show. I like shows like that where there's like a lot of banter back and forth and it's like really fast and um, smart humor in the jokes and stuff. Trying to think what are some other shows like that. There's quite a few fast talking, smart comedians. That's what it is. But yeah, you're walking down the road and out there in the distance, there's more trees. Maybe the road winds around this corner back here or something like that. So it's an adventure. You never know where the road's going to take you. Except someplace pretty, which this road definitely does. Again, you just kind of like add these little splotches of color just to like hint at different features. So it looks like there's like this little tuft of something there just poking out. This is why I enjoy art, to be honest. You create these little worlds and then you're just adding to it. There's no rules. Nobody tells you what you can add to it. It's all up to you. Like where else do you get that kind of control in life? You just get to do whatever you want. Rome, the shirt is Yoda, do or do not. There is no try. There is no try. Yoda's the smartest guy ever. I feel like everything that Yoda says should be on a t-shirt. Or like a Facebook wall or Instagram post or something like that. So I'm just kind of coming through. Just I always like this white pastel. It's super soft, so it just kind of like layers over things really easily. So it's really nice to just kind of come in and pop in some highlights here and there. Little places where the sun shines through the trees. I also kind of use this to cheat and kind of like draw your attention to things because it's highlighted. It's really good for that. And of course, I have other colors that I could use for that same effect, but I like this white. Kind of pop in some little light features here and there. Kind of showing through. I guess I could do the same thing with like a darker color, but I'm a little bit nervous about that. Jeremy, please add shirtless Larry. No, I am not drawing shirtless Larry. Hey, if you want to draw shirtless Larry on your channel, feel free. I'll go and watch it and stuff, but I am not doing that. I will draw Larry on a beach with like a metal detector or something like that, but I'm not going to draw shirtless Larry on a beach with a metal detector. It's not my thing. I'm not that great of a drawer. That's that's what the problem is. Yeah, I don't have the skill. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're like in the hour and 30. So, yeah, at this point, you're just kind of going over it and you're like adding these like little pieces of interest. And, um, like these are in the reference photo. They're probably like, a little bit more defined than what I'm doing here. But you're just putting in these like little marks and stuff like that. There's these little things that your eyes just grab attention to. So this is what I like about paintings and like pastel art and stuff like that is like seeing these like little like this little mark here, right, that I just randomly put in. When I'm in a museum or like I'm in an art gallery or something like that, that kind of stuff will grab my attention and I will just focus on it like some kind of crazy man. Like I will look at that and I'll be like, oh, that's so amazing. How did that get in there? And in my mind, the artist spent so much time intentionally putting in each and individual mark. But I know it's not true. But that's how I think of other artists. I think of other artists as being enormously talented, way more talented than me, and they're just like really so good at what they do that they intentionally put in every mark. Of course, we know it's not true, but that's where my mind goes. And I find it so fascinating because like it really is that kind of visual interest that you're applying here. Hey, have a good one, BIC man. I appreciate you hanging out. Yeah, BIC is one of the regulars here. He's pretty cool. I like him. I like all of you guys. All right, so I kind of wanted to get some of this stuff a little bit more featured. This is basically like a pile of leaves at the corner over here. So I wanted to use a couple of different, I'm going to introduce a new color. See how this looks. Yeah, that's kind of like a maroon, sort of. I hesitate to name a color on here because you guys might hold me to it. So if I say this looks like maroon and stuff, you guys might be like, no, that looks like purple. I don't know. This guy sucks. Seagulls. The more you go over these pictures, the more details get added and stuff. You guys know the drill. But the picture's done whenever you call it done. Um, you can add as little or as much detail as you want. I like to keep things a little bit kind of vague and left to interpretation, but it's really up to you. Had a light color somewhere. I'm gonna use this. Kind of like peach. Kind of lightly put these things in here. I want some leaves over here in the road. So yeah, this is a good color for that. Get some leaves laying in here. I always like to go back and look at the beginning of my streams and kind of scrub through to like where I ended up. It's so fascinating to me how like a picture you almost have to like you have to start it on faith because really I had no idea going into this what this was going to look like. I just kind of like accepted on faith that we would get to somewhere that where it looks like a picture. And I'm pretty happy with it. Like it probably isn't the best thing in the world, but I'm pretty happy with it. And if I went back and I looked at the beginning of this stream, I probably would be like, "Where is this going, Jeremy?" Like, I'd probably be like, "I'm not sure about this." Because there are some times when I do pictures on this channel and I just kind of like, I fail. They don't turn out very well at all. I'm happy to say that this one's not that bad. So I wouldn't count this as one of those. But you never know going into it. Like, you're like, oh, maybe it's going to suck. Maybe it's not. But I think it's a convincing road. I think I'm pretty happy with the road part of it. The trees are fine. The idea is to get you in the mood for fall. I feel like I'm there. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling fall in this picture. I want some apple cider. I want a big old slice of pumpkin pie. Yeah, I need to stop drinking bourbon and go and do these things at Starbucks so that I can get some pumpkin spice latte. Wonder if like they would let me do a live stream from Starbucks or whether they would be like, "Why is this dude talking to himself?" Because I could put on like headphones or something, but they'd be like, "Yeah, this dude's talking to himself. He's weird. Let's uh, let's ignore this guy. Looks so peaceful. Thank you. Oh, that's awesome. Like that's probably great. It's one thing to say it looks pretty, but if you say it looks like an emotion, that's actually really cool. I appreciate that. Get some yellow up in here. Yeah. Actually, yeah, I'm gonna say that. That is really cool. When you say something looks like an emotion, that's actually really, really cool. And I think it kind of does. I kind of feel like there needs to be a figure in there. I'm not going to do it just because I don't want to screw this up, but I wish I had the foresight to have put into my planned composition like a person walking down the trail or something like that, because I think that would look cool. Happy fall. All right. So I might still work on this a little bit, but I am kind of curious. I want to peel back this tape and just kind of see how it looks with the gotta be careful with this so I don't rip it. Or yeah. I am kind of curious what it looks like with a nice clean edge. Which, if you're ever working on like a an actual pastel picture, don't do like I did, where you just like use like thin tape or something. Go ahead and tape it all the way to the edge because otherwise you get like a little bit of smudge here. Like you can't really see it on camera, but I do. Um, it doesn't matter if you're gonna like mat it or something, like when you go to frame it. Um, in fact, I think you have to mat it when it comes to pastel to keep the pastel from actually touching the glass. And I think, how do I get the lift this little piece here? Give me a second. There you go. Sorry. Usually I'm not this careful. I just peel it off and because I don't care, but I don't want while on camera for you guys to see me screw up. I like that nice clean edge. I think that really makes the picture. So that's pretty good. There you go. All right, so that looks pretty good. you guys bear with me a minute. I'm going to add a little bit of more definition where that tree's coming out. You see how the fallen leaves are swept to the side of the trail? Yeah, I know. That's cool, man. I'm glad that you noticed that. Well, hopefully it's not so much into fall that you guys have to rake leaves or anything like that this weekend. That would be a bummer. But I guess the trade-off is that, as summer turns into fall, you give up having to mow the lawn and replace that with having to rake leaves or something like that. I don't really rake leaves myself. I'm just saying that because other people do. I end up mulching that stuff by like just mowing over it. I don't rake leaves. Some people care about that kind of stuff. I don't care about that kind of stuff. I'm in Kentucky. Nobody cares about. I don't know. People care about like their lawns and the general appearance of their homes and stuff like that. But I don't care enough to break my leaves. I don't have a lot of leaves anyway, and I like the leaves to just fall where they may because then they become like mulch, really, for like your lawn. I guess I don't know. I don't really know what I'm talking about, but sounds good. Reminds me of a path Johnny Appleseed would have walked down. That's awesome. I appreciate that. Yeah, I was thinking about doing an apple tree, but then I'm like, it's fall. I think we should do like something where the leaves are changing. I don't know what kind of tree this was. I wish I could sort that out. Branch. You're just kind of basically going through and doing touch ups where you're bringing things out that maybe got like a little smudged in. So, if I come in and I add like a little bit of shadow here that kind of separates it from the leaves around it and stuff. So, you know, you do this to the extent that you want to do it. It's a little bit tedious, and I don't know if it's completely necessary, but it does cause that sort of like contrast to where the leaves really pop out from behind or in front of the branches or trunks or whatever. So do it if you want. If not, don't worry about it. But yeah, I think we're getting pretty close to being done here. Yeah, it does kind of look like oak leaves. It's whatever you guys want it to be. I'm not gonna tell you guys what to think here. Whatever you guys want. Um, I don't know if I'm successful on getting this to look like there's rivets. So I'm gonna take another stab at that. Darken in this area here. And then because I don't want that to look like little pencil lines, let's smudge that a little bit. Now, if I did want to introduce another color, probably the other color that I would introduce is maybe a little bit of blue because blue does work really well with these oranges and stuff, and I think it would look nice. So like a little blue poking through the tree, maybe a little bit of blue shade to this and stuff. But I like this minimal palette. I think it looks cool. All right, guys. So what do you guys think? Are we done here? Yeah. So I do so I feel like I'm getting close to having a style for doing landscapes and everything, but I'm not 100% happy with it. So I need to practice more. I think it's a good start, but it's not really like my area of expertise. So I feel like I'm going to have to continue walking that path, taking that road to being an excellent landscape artist. You start the journey and eventually you get there. And I don't know what I'm saying. Like one day I will walk the road and become an excellent landscape artist. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. This isn't that bad. Yeah, walk the right path. There you go. All right, so I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I know that you have a lot of options on what you can do with your Friday night, which is one of the reasons why I switched to Thursdays. That is my normal day. For those of you who are new to this channel, if you are new to this channel, I encourage you to like and subscribe so that I can bring you more of this content, all that stuff that other people say that I always forget to say. But certainly, if your Thursdays are free, if your Tuesdays are free, that's when I usually do these. I look forward to seeing you guys on those days. Every now and then, I'll do a random Friday one just because I don't know, I get busy during the week sometimes and I'm not able to make it to my scheduled one. And then every few days or months or whatever, I do a Saturday stream. I'll probably start doing that more when it gets cold. It's just been so nice out that I want to be outdoors instead of like sitting in front of a computer drawing. But certainly as winter comes around, I might get into doing more Saturday um, live streams. And then I guess every now and then I post like a standalone video but I haven't done that in a while. I kind of suck. I haven't even posted any shorts in a long time. It's been a while, which, I need to do that because I also have like Instagram and TikTok people who like, they never see these live streams and stuff. So I need to make sure that I get them some content too. So anyway, maybe I'll post a short at some point this weekend. Just if I remember to. We'll see. We'll see what happens, guys. Anything can happen. It's fall. Anything can happen. Yeah, I kind of like this. This white is so nice for coming back and just kind of breaking some of these things. Like it was kind of weird that it was all the way down. So like coming back and breaking some of this stuff up helps. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. Hopefully you guys like this one. Hopefully it makes you feel like fall and you're getting in the spirit of it. But yeah, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on a Friday night. So let me go ahead and let you guys go. Thank you so much. I will be back on Tuesday. So I will see you guys then. Who knows what I'm going to draw? It could be another landscape picture. It could be another pet. I really enjoy drawing those pets. So we'll see. But until then, have a great weekend. Stay safe. I'll see you guys next week. Bye. Thanks.